The US and Russia may not agree on much, but they are absolutely set on the fact that neither of them wants Vitaly. Once again, this is Legal Mindset, where we teach you to be your own judge. I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney living in Asia and covering nuisance streamers like Johnny Somali and Vitaly. So in the case of Vitaly, we actually have a huge update today, and this is really big. We have both Russia and the United States have now officially said they will not take Vitaly. Even if he was going to be deported, they're not going to take him. And beyond that, we have some updates on the procedure of the case, which is very, very pertinent. Of course, this is a fast facts version, which is a abridged version of my longer live streams. If you want to see my live stream where I really dig down into detail on this, please check out my latest live on Vitaly. So, of course, I've prepared for you guys a nice presentation here, which gives you an update as of today. Once again, June 1st, 2025. As information breaks, I endeavor to bring you the most accurate information, which gives you just the facts as we have them to the day, to the best of my understanding as a humble American attorney. Now, what do we have that's unclear? We've got a lot of false information about Vitaly that needs to be cleared up and a lot of stuff that's unknown. First of all, we actually don't know the legal procedure and exactly how long this is going to take. So initially, we reported that the average time in the Filipino court system is 2 to 3 years for processing regular cases, but we don't know whether or not his case might be expedited, or maybe it might be brought down a path where it could be adjudicated quicker. So we don't know how long it would be before he goes to trial. And we also don't know the particular judge, all of the prosecutors, etc. A lot of those court details, which are really pertinent when we try to cover cases as we cover them in the United States and in other jurisdictions, such as we cover the Johnny Somali, Ramsey Khalid Ismail case in South Korea. We should get that information next week, though, as the trial, or the first step, which is the filing of the information, is scheduled for next week. We'll get into that. We also don't know exactly about the attendance and whether or not people can attend and what the conditions are. There's been some kind of conflicting information on that. There's a possibility of attendance. The other thing we don't know is we don't know his real physical or mental symptoms. We do know that he did try to get out based on a mental health defense. I covered this on my last video, my last Fast Facts video, which covered the fact that Vitaly brought up a mental health defense, which was really laughed at by the undersecretary and has now been officially rejected. They've rejected that plea to allow him to go under a mental health defense. So that's been completely rejected as of date. Further, we don't even know after he serves his sentence where he would go, because both Russia and the US says, hey, we're not accepting him if he's going to be deported. Now, we have confirmed that it appears that he is a Russian citizen, therefore holds a Russian passport, but has a US green card. So it kind of creates a weird situation of like, who's going to take Vitaly? But we do know one thing. While it's unclear on whom would take him, he will be serving that sentence in a Philippine prison. So he is not going to get special treatment. He's not going to get sent to a cushy prison in the United States or somewhere in Russia. He's going to be serving that in the Philippines, which is where he committed those crimes. Now, what we do have confirmed, and this is something that was confirmed by an article today, which if you want to see that article and dig deeper, check out my live stream. But that is unjust vexation, 3 counts. That is confirmed. So this is stuff that's solid information that we know is going forward. And what's going to happen is prosecutors are going to file an information as of next week. Now, what that does is it locks down Vitaly's ability to essentially settle or get this thing to go away. So the time at which he can get this to go away is going to come up next week. His only real options are 2 things, which is essentially plead guilty or just sit back and deal with it. So thus far, he has not pled guilty officially. And what that could do is, if he pleads guilty, he says he's sorry, he throws himself at the mercy of the court, they may adjudicate him more lightly. That may be what would be called a mitigating circumstance. Mitigating circumstance meaning making it less bad. This is something we talked about in the Somali case. If you're very, very sorry, that tends to go well in most jurisdictions, especially in Asia. If you are genuinely sorry and you say that publicly in front of God and everybody in the court and everything, you come out and say, I am sorry, that is taken as a mitigating circumstance, provided that's a genuine apology. Now, what could that sentence be? So on the lower end, I've seen the estimates at a couple of months, like 1 to 3 months. Once again, assuming he's convicted on the charges of unjust vexation. On the high end, I've seen 1 year. Obviously, there's a spectrum in between that. It could be land somewhere in the middle. A lot of the false information around the Vitaly case has really fallen around the sentencing. I know it's really easy to have clickbait titles that say he's going to go to jail for 1 million years or he's going to get the death sentence, but that's not simply true. It's just false. That's false information. That's a false fact, not a fast fact. By the way, smash a like if you like the fast fact videos. But it's something that I really try to be accurate on this channel. Now, I will say I get the information as it comes in and I do update my coverage, which is why I cover nuisance streamers like Vitaly and Somali on an ongoing basis, because a lot of this information is not clear to begin with, and it becomes more clear and articulated as the process proceeds down the line in these legal proceedings. So at this point, we'll be very interested to see if he pleads guilty. And then once again, once we get to the sentencing, how long that is. Now, I know some people you have feelings about justice. And that's what I wanted to speak real quick, because in the comments regarding Vitaly, and whether you're a Vitaly hater or one of the very, very few Vitaly fans, and they exist, but they're an infinitesimal amount, or perhaps maybe you're somebody that says, hey, Vitaly did something wrong, but he doesn't deserve, 1 million years in jail. I think what this comes down to is an understanding of rehabilitative versus restorative justice. And this is a concept I wanted to explain because I think a lot of people understand this without it being articulated, but it's a good point of education for, I think, everybody out there in the chat to get educated on. And that is, in the justice system and in our penal systems, we have really two penal theories. One is restorative justice, the other is rehabilitative. Restorative focuses on the victim. So it's restoring and repairing the harm to the victim. So the victims were hurt, something bad happened. And people feel, and often do, that there needs to be something that a penalty that is assessed to restore that harm. A lot of people consider this old school justice, and indeed a lot of the classical systems were meant to give restorative justice. However, in some Western jurisdictions, they've had a lot of focus on rehabilitative justice, which is focusing on the offender and positive change. I actually think the best example of this would be Shawshank Redemption. If you've seen the movie Shawshank Redemption, with the rain pouring down, and he comes out of the pipe, the sewer pipe, and he's cleansed. You're supposed to go through a healing, a catharsis, and wash away that and come out a different person. And one of the big debates that I see in the chat and I see in the comments and I see everywhere else is, which is best? Is one better than the other? Well, that's a cultural thing. And I think that's the most fascinating thing for me as an American attorney looking at other systems, is the weight they put on one versus the other. And it's not to say one is wrong and one is completely wrong and the other one's completely right. I think there's some sort of balance between them where, hey, yeah, if you could change a person, they could come out better. That is a good thing. But at the same time, there is a harm and there needs to be an offset for that harm. So there's some balance to that. I don't think it's all one thing or another, in my personal opinion, but I am very interested to know what you guys think in the chat versus Vitaly. Do you think that we should really focus on the harm to the victims? Or do you think, hey, maybe, a year in jail will do good for Vitaly? Maybe he'll actually think about his actions and come out a different person. Hey, maybe this will prevent other people from doing the same thing. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments, and I'll catch you on the next one.
Are you guys enjoying the stream today?